Welcome to yet another cool video that we're going to talk about. One of the greatest topic that's like how can you become a nerd? And in this particular topic, we're going to talk about how being the nerd will skyrocket your online business and on your online courses and your online community and whatever you do. One thing that we all run away when I was in school and college and stuff like that, I never wanted to be known as the nerd because if I'm me being the backbencher, if I'm being called as the nerd who knows the subtopic, my self-esteem probably in the friend circle would have been would go down and would not be that great, and I would lose my identity among the friends, and I never wanted me to be known as the nerd, and that was one of the biggest mistakes that I ever did. Now that I know, okay, being nerd is a great thing because when you are a nerd in a specific thing, for example, you are geeking out on a specific subject, that means you are great at what you're doing. You love what you're doing. You don't need you actually don't need experience when you're a geek, when you're a nerd. You need that energy and enthusiasm within you. That will one thing will derive so many examples from so many different domains, even if you don't have experience. One biggest and greatest quality of being a nerd is like you don't need experience because you are so energetic in that one subject matter that you will derive anything and every example that you see around you and forming that to a great little example that people will not even know that you are probably the newbie of this thing. You probably are just starting off with the thing because you've got so much energy within you just by you being a geek of a specific subject. That brings us to the beginning of this particular video. We are going to talk about three different things, how three different things, three reasons. Like, I don't know. We are just going to dive down into three points that we're going to talk about in this particular video. Now, thank you so much for making this particular video part of your day. Me, I am Fazal Ahmad Shah. Fazal, with as well as Fazal, Fazal, and I have a community called the Academy of Ardent Scientists, where we all, being introverts, struggle. How can you take an idea and execute and figure out a way to do a business and strategy? So that's all we do in multiple stages in the community called the Academy of Ardent Scientists. That being said, the first point that we're going to talk about is like how being the nerd will skyrocket your business. Point number one, I just have to trigger you and you're like kitty kitty boom boom in that phase. Like I just have to trigger you. For example, if you really love talking about cars, boom boom cars and racing, probably F1 racing or probably the bike racing. Car racing is NASCARs and Formula One. The bike racing is completely different. So if I just trigger you, okay, let's talk about helmets, or just talk about F1 racing. What happened this particular year? Where did that happen? How did that happen? Who's the champion of it? Let's talk about basketball, or just talk about what was that? Is a specific language. Like I just have to trigger you, and you are already on fire. Like I don't even want to put. I don't even know. I just know there was this one friend back in school. I just happen to remember that. Let it go with the flow. And I think we met him in the 11th grade. And I don't really want to name anyone over here, but then he was a core fan of a celebrity. And I for sure know the whole class knew that if I just trigger with an opposite name of that celebrity, that they will just stop. That guy will start supporting one celebrity and start talking bad about the other celebrity. Probably you've guessed it who I'm talking about, but then I don't want to name anyone because it used to be fun. So we used to go just whenever we used to get bored, we used to walk to him as like a, did you know that film of that particular celebrity that you like was a disaster? Done. We just have to sit for next 20 minutes and just enjoy the flow. He was a nerd of that particular subject, of that particular celebrity. That is how even we are. We like doing something. We are passionate. You start talking to me about traveling. You start talking to me about music and movies and the lessons on entrepreneurship, the productivity. I'll go like you just need to ask me a question and then start. You just have to shush and just start listening to me because that's how we are. We are a nerd of something. We always geek out on something. There are few people that I know who are geeks of cooking, traveling, writing, calligraphy, drawing, solo traveling, and so many thousand different things. So, point being a nerd is a great thing for you. So, what are you nerding? What are you geek of? Point number one. The point number one is like trigger and boom. Second point, we all have something called core magnetic pulls. What do I mean by that? When there may be very limited number of things that I just have to trigger you, and you goes like you go firing on those topics because you love so much talking about them. You derive in examples, you are passionate about it, it drives you forward, it motivates you, it anchors you, I just have to keep my mouth shut and just let you talk about that. So when we talk about core magnetic topics, I'm not talking about passion, I'm talking about something that you really love talking about. You're really passionate talking about that specific thing. We have got limited things that we're talking about because think of it like a flower. Got it? I'll just derive you with this small little example. Think of it and in this way. Cool, that's you. That's not a zero, that's you. Cool. I trigger you with, for example, if we are having a conversation on how do you start a conversation with someone. Okay, that's the topic. We started here, and you being passionate about traveling on a bike. Okay, what you will do, you will take a U-turn in the conversation and come back to that one topic that you really love. For example, how can you get great at communication? You will find a way to link that with solo traveling. For an example, how can you get great at communication as an entrepreneur? Great. Once you start traveling, for example, once you start traveling solo on a bike, right? You've got like 3 hours of journey, you start talking to yourself. The more you talk, the more you bring that idea and talk and talk and talk, the idea gets crisper. And again, the more you talk about it, the more you're getting great at communication. Now, since you're just talking to yourself, what you can do for step number two. For example, step number two, because you set like a headset while riding with an helmet on, headset, no songs, start recording. 3 hours of content you can generate. So anything that I want to talk about, I'll just go, like we start talking about communication, you go back all the way to traveling. We start talking about why we need to start working out, you go back all the way to traveling. I start talking about, okay, the paint of my hair, this is not white, this is green color, and green color is so great in this particular room. Okay, now you will find a way to link this paint and travel. Okay, great, this is green color, so is the scenery green color, so is the trees green color, so is the sky light blue color, aesthetic. And when you go out, instead of staying in the room, go travel solo, not with people. When you go travel solo, see how it affects your natural health and the health and stuff like that. So you will find ways and you will link back to the thing that you really love about. So core magnetic topic. And what am I trying to say over here is, you have, it goes like this. These are a few magnetic topics that you really love talking about. You're way too passionate talking about. I just have to trigger you. Probably one time you go in the direction of travel, second time you go in the direction of movies, third time you go in the direction of traveling, fourth time you go in the direction, completely different direction, because you are passionate about it. You talk about construction because for some reason that you're connected to it. Third reason is like the empowerment of students in that one direction. You know what you're great at, you know something that you start talking about, there's nothing. So there comes a point, we've got limited thing that we always and often talk about. What are those topics? List them down. Core magnetic topics, and then make a list of 10. Strike 2 off, strike 3 off, strike 2 off, strike 3 off. You come all the way to 1. Boom. That's where you need to be probably starting again. You apply different multiple strategies to think to that one thing and create an online course and see how that skyrockets your online courses and online business. Third point is not passionate about things, but they are your core magnetic pulls. It's your core. It's your core. You are so connected to it that you don't even want experience. You just go talking about it. You just go sharing about it. You're so focused talking about it. That being said, trigger and boom boom. It's actually written like when I was writing, it's like I just have to trigger you and then you go boom boom. That's what it is. Point number one. Point number two, core magnetic pulls. Core magnetic pulls and you don't have to be passionate about it, but it has to do something which is so core deep down in you. Probably when your childhood you wanted to do it, probably those things you just bring that up, polish it up, put tactical strategies to it, and go trigger boom boom, kitty kitty boom boom in that way. That being said, how being the nerd will skyrocket your business. Three ways. Thank you so much for making me this video and the topic a part of your day. All the best in your journey, and see you in another video.